माननीय श्री लावू श्री कृष्णा.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I stand in support of Finance Bill 2026. I also stand in support of Finance Bill 2026 and also to give suggestions on this Finance Bill, sir. Sir, in the last 5 years, starting from COVID, Russia-Ukraine war, US tariffs, Operation Sindhu, West Asia, there were numerous challenges that came India's way. But sir, in the last 5 years, our economy has thrived and the numbers say so. India is one of the fastest growing economy with almost 7% in GDP growth. And also our GST was up by 65% in the last 5 years, sir. And revenue receipts increased from 8.5% to 9.2% of the GDP. And non-corporate tax collections also rose from 2.4% to 3.3% of the GDP, sir. This shows the robustness of our economy, sir. But along with that, we also have pending tax appeals, which has raised from 4.65 lakhs in financial year 2021 to 5.8 lakhs in financial year 2025, sir. And also, income tax under disputes also doubled from 4.98 lakh crore to 10.48 lakh crore in the last 5 years or so, sir. And also the corporate tax disputes also surged by 70%, sir. Sir, this shows our economy is thriving, our economy is booming, but at the same time, the disputes and the appeals are also growing. And there is some systemic bottlenecks that are existing in the tax administration. They require some sort of a solution so that these bottlenecks can be removed. Sir, before the budget was placed before the House, Honorable Prime Minister has asked us, this budget is not just prepared with the consultation of few of the ministers or the MPs, but this budget should be prepared in consultation of the people on the ground. So please reach out to the people on the ground, take their suggestions and send those suggestions to us so that we can. So based on that, on what Honorable Prime Minister has advised us, I'm making this suggestion, sir. The first one is the procedural changes. The second one is the institutional changes. The first procedural changes, sir, there are 3 procedural changes that I am mentioning, madam. The first one is to introduce simplified regime for individuals earning up to 1 crore of the income, so that these people, we are trusting them rather than, the tax people are trusting them. Even the other day, 3 days back, Finance Minister also has advised the taxmen to actually trust the taxpayers and ease them so that they can be hand-holded on while they are paying the taxes. So I hope this suggestion will be taken in a positive way. The second suggestion is introduce higher threshold for the erosion. For 50 lakh for the simple cases, 5 crore for the serious cases, appeals to the Supreme Court for cases about 10 crores. What this will do is, it will reduce the case log in the High Courts and the Supreme Courts. So I hope this suggestion will be taken. And the third suggestion is to reduce litigation timeline from 5 years to 3 years, so that our officers at the same time of the government won't spend a lot of time in the courts trying to litigate this rather than find a solution to this. These are the 3 procedural suggestions that I'm suggesting. And the institutions changes that I'm suggesting is, the first one is expansion of dispute resolution panel with a mandated 9-month timeline, so that this dispute resolution panel can reduce the caseload that will be put on High Courts and Supreme Courts. No, not everyone has to go to the courts. This dispute resolution panel can actually solve them. And the second suggestion I want to make is introduce consequences for officers filing repeated unsuccessful appeals. There is a sort of atmosphere that is created among the officers that raising a dispute itself is them doing the work. This will not help the government. This will not help the taxpayer also. This will only increase the caseload, and this will create a friction between the government and the businesses and the taxpayer. So for this to be reduced, so if there is an introduction of introduction of these consequences. If they have to face the consequences if they file the unsuccessful appeals, then it will be reduced, ma'am. And the third request is to mandate the department to withdraw appeals within 2 months in cases where legal questions were clearly settled in the courts. If the issue is settled in the High Court, they prolong it to take it to the Supreme Court. When 95% of the cases which are settled in the High Court get the same result in the Supreme Court, what is the need of prolonging it and taking it to the next court and prolonging the case, which is not beneficial for the government as well, for the ministry as well, to get the taxes. So I request the ministry to take these three institutional changes and implement it. Trust the taxpayer, create an atmosphere for the taxpayer in such a way that he looks at it in a positive way. He comes forward to declare his profits and assets. And ma'am, to talk of the budget, I wish I spoke on the budget, but you all saw, ma'am, what happened during the budget discussion. We didn't get the opportunity to speak. But to talk on the budget, Madam said when she introduced it, this is a futuristic budget. She announced there's an AI mission, there's a semiconductor mission, there's an announcement for the research, development and innovation scheme also. There's a lot of announcements. These announcements are not only done for this year, but announcements were done for the last year also. But the problem is, again, a constructive session, the problem is it's not about the announcements, madam. It's about the utilization, how much utilization is happening. For example, I'll tell you, AA mission, last year in 25-26, the allocation was 2,000 crores. But what is the utilization? Utilization was only 800 crores. AA summit we have seen last month, how much enthusiasm people have come. How much participation was there? How many startups have come and exhibited there? Ma'am, India is a service-driven economy. We have a balance of payments, positive balance of payments, just because of the service-driven economy, a balance of payments in a positive way by almost $150 billion. But because of this AI, it might get all reversed. I tell you why. Because right now, whenever we do a search on the ChatGPT, the search goes to the US GPUs. So US is not just exporting the software, but it is also, every time you search, the tokens are generated. So they are also exporting, which we used to export services from India, that now they are exporting services to India. So that whatever balance of payments, it might get reversed. Not only the export of services, but also whenever you search, whenever you use, enterprises use, as consumers use, the GPUs in USA, what they export is, they export the energy also from there. The energy that is also charged. So on one side, we are already importing energy from other countries for mobility. With the expansion of AI and the way we are going to use the AI from depending on the US and the companies from the US, the energy that is being used not only for the mobility, we are depending on the other countries, but energy that is being used for our computing also, we are going to buy it from other countries. So my request is that this mission, AI mission which has been announced, the target should be in the next 2 years, the target should be, the country's target should be to have at least 1 million GPU infrastructure in this country. Only then whatever allocations that are made, I'm not expecting the government to do all the investment, all the buying of the GPUs, but it should propel the sector forward. It should bring private players also into this, encourage private players also into this, so that this balance of payments that we are enjoying right now, these balance of payments only, we are buying the energy from other countries. When the service sector gets disturbed, when this balance of payments tilt to the opposite side of the US, this will show up on the show in your economy, ma'am. So I request the ministry to not just the finance ministry, but the Ministry of Electronics also to look at this AI mission in a mission mode and add at least 1 million GPUs by 2028. And the second one is a semiconductor mission that has been announced. Sir, ma'am, everyone is seeing the semiconductor sector as a strategic manufacturing sector, but I see this sector as a sector that can actually attract talent back to India. That is how I see this sector. Because if you see, out of 500 Fortune companies in tech companies in the world, 1 in 6 are led by Indians. So that means that we have talent. We have talent that is going abroad, building companies, leading companies. But how can we how can you reverse them? How can you bring back them to India? This semiconductor industry can actually do it. But what is required is spending. Again, not allocation, but actually spending. In 25-26, the 7,000 crores has been allocated for this semiconductor mission. How much was spent? Only 4,300 crores was being spent. So even the standing committee has also said in this report that poor transition from project approval to dispersal is the main problem in the semiconductor mission. Ma'am, for anyone to come back to India and lead this sector, this needs a lot of talent coming back from India. For anyone to come back and lead this, no one wants to come back for a job. No one want to come back for a salary. If they come back to India, they want to lead a company, build a company, own a company. For that to happen, whatever has been allocated under this scheme needs to be dispersed on a time-bound manner. Unless it is done, it won't happen. So I request the ministry, also Jatinji also sitting, I hope they look into this and allocate the fund in a mission mode. And the third one is Research Development and Innovation Fund. Again, in 25-26, the allocation was 20,000 crores, but actual utilization was only 3,000 crores. Which is, this is when the research, when you allocate and you don't spend, it doesn't show that year the results, that it will show in the years to come. Say, for example, I give you with regards to ISRO. ISRO has done tremendous work in this country. They have built defenses for this country, the satellites for this country. But the satellite that is being built by ISRO, that is being launched by ISRO, is still 50 to 55%. That in their website it's showing 50 to 55% of the components that are being used in the satellites launched by ISRO are imported from other countries. For 75 years, they're doing tremendous job for the country, but still that sector is only evolved to that extent. It's because unless you spend on research, unless what is allocated for the research is spent, the sector won't grow. These are all the sectors that what I mentioned, unlike road, rail, okay, they might wait for a year or two, but these are the sectors, unless you actually spend the amount, utilize the amount at the right time, the technology will change, and you always will be catching up. So I request the ministry to actually look at it in that direction and utilize the funds properly. Ma'am, I'll give you one example. What happens when government has the intent, but bureaucracy doesn't buy it, or bureaucracy doesn't implement it. Polavaram project in Andhra Pradesh. It is a lifeline of Andhra Pradesh. It is supposed to irrigate lakhs of acres. It is supposed to give water to lakhs of houses in our state, ma'am. But what has happened? Recently, there's a CAG report that has come out. Ma'am, in that CAG report, if anyone looks at it, on the page number 11, ma'am, Polavaram project, everyone wants it. State government people in Andhra Pradesh want it. Central government is supporting it. The last 2 minutes, central government is supporting it. People in Andhra Pradesh are asking for it. But what has happened from 2019 to 24, I explain. On page 11 in the CAG report, government of AP has cut during 2019 to 24. Government of AP has cut Polavaram allocations by nearly 50% between 2019 to 21, 22 to 23. And page number 13 in CAG report, when central government has allocated 2,097 crores for land acquisition and R&R package, they remained unpaid in 2022 and 23. This was happened in the last government. And on the page 38 and 39 of the CAG report, it has been mentioned YSRCP abruptly terminated the main dam package, ignoring the Polavaram project authority advice. What has happened because of this abrupt termination? What has happened was in a diaphragm wall got exposed during the floods and it got damaged. In the page number 33 and 34, it was very much mentioned. Last 1 minute, ma'am. And in the page number 40 of the CAG report, there's a retendering norms was violated. There's a reduced bidding process was reduced from 16 months to 16 days to 16 days, from 21 days has been done. Everything was against what is required. Everything was against what is required so that this project can be finished was done between 2019 to 24. What has happened when the central government was ready to fund it, when people of Andhra Pradesh wanted to do it, just because of the lacuna and implementation process, this whole project was derailed, ma'am. So I want to put this on record. This is the example of an infrastructure project. If if missions like AI and semiconductors are not taken seriously on a mission mode, it will go in the same way. That is my crux of it, ma'am. Ma'am, in the conclusion, ma'am, what I request is that tax dispute mechanisms which I've suggested need to be improved, and also the balance of payments that I requested, that service which we are running to the services need to be made sure that they remain positive. For that, we need to have a proper strategy. And also, the last and final request is don't just allocate funds, but actually make sure that work with the state governments, work with the bureaucracy, mainly with the bureaucracy, to make sure the utilizations happen on the ground, ma'am. Thank you.